All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being on time. My name is Katie Calloway, and just wanted to check in, see if everyone can hear me and can see me a-okay. And I'm also gonna start a screen share here in just 1 minute. All right, can everyone hear me and see me all right? If you could just let me know in chat, that would be great. And if you can see my screen as well. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. Good morning. Just a few housekeeping things before we dive in. First off, thank you so much for registering to attend this webinar this morning, all about Instagram for real estate professionals. Super excited that you're joining with us. Of course, you will notice I am in my home. We are located in Los Angeles. That's where Back at You is headquartered. And so we are still sheltering in place. So if you hear a dog bark, if a cat happens to run by, that is why that I am sitting on my sofa today and I'm not in an office. So just wanted to clear that first and foremost. Also, we will have someone in chat ready to answer your questions. His name is Grant Pierce, my colleague over here. We will have a Q&A at the end. However, feel free to ask questions throughout, but if I don't answer it directly, it's either because I will be answering it later in the webinar itself, or possibly wanted to save it for the Q&A at the end because it might be valuable for everyone. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive into this. Also, to my knowledge, this will be recorded and sent out after the actual live webinar is complete. So don't worry if you feel like you need to take notes or anything like that, you're welcome to, but you will have access to this later as well. All right, so a little bit about us. If you're not familiar with Back at You, I just wanted to introduce ourselves. We are a partner with the National Association of Realtors Realtor Benefits Program, as well as we are Facebook and Instagram marketing partners as well. So we do have that intersection of both real estate knowledge and social media knowledge to share with you today. So you're in really good hands whenever it comes to anything and everything social media for real estate professionals. With that said, today is all about Instagram specifically, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So let's talk about Instagram accounts, just to start with. Instagram has both a personal account option, they also have a business account option, similar to how Facebook has a Facebook business page, as well as you can have a personal page or a personal account. So let's talk about what's the difference, which one should you be using, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. First off, what even is the difference between the two? Well, the good thing is, aesthetically, they look and work pretty much the same in terms of just sharing pictures on Instagram, sharing videos. You have a lot of the same tools and features. However, business accounts do have the ability to put specific calls to action embedded directly within your profile, which is really handy for any business professional, but especially for real estate agents. Business accounts also provide bonus features like super detailed analytics that you can access and be more strategic. And you have the opportunity to run ads when you would like to, and you don't have that opportunity when only utilizing a personal account. So I was talking about those public calls to action that you have embedded in your profile. Right here is a good example. We have this on our Instagram account, just at Back at You. It is no longer Back at You Inc., but if you would like to follow us, it's just at Back at You on Instagram. And you can see here we have a contact button. So could you. When someone clicks on that, you can have your email, your phone number, or your business address all embedded directly within your profile. So the good thing there is if someone's interested in a listing that you're sharing on your Instagram account, they can immediately contact you without having to do additional research like looking up your phone number, looking up your email. They can simply click a few buttons, and that's definitely a bonus. Of course, you don't have to display this information though. It is an option and it's super beneficial, but it isn't a requirement when you have a business account. Also, super detailed analytics, right? When you have a business account, you can monitor your engagement and activity, like your likes or comments, the shares a certain post might receive. You can also look into audience data, which is very, very handy. Facebook gives you this ability as well. You can see the times that your followers are most active on Instagram, as well as the location and gender of your following. And location is incredibly important to mention, because let's say that you're looking at your analytics and you happen to be targeting a ton of people in Austin, Texas for whatever reason, but maybe that's not where you work, or that's not the audience you want to attract. That way you can be more strategic, look and see why you're attracting that certain following base, and then assess accordingly with your content and hashtags, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But having a business account is really great to look into those analytics. And then advertising. This one's kind of a no-brainer here with a business account. You have the ability to run ads not only in your feed with posting video ads or photo ads or carousel ads, but you can also run ads on Instagram stories, which we will also dive into in this webinar. So you don't have any of these abilities on a personal account. So yes, we absolutely suggest, if you want to just up your game when it comes to Instagram marketing, use a business account. It's super beneficial. The analytics are so transparent, and you can use third-party software, like Back at You or other scheduling tools, which you cannot do with a personal one. Also, as a bonus, if you are a Facebook user or have a Facebook business page, you can also connect your Facebook and Instagram business account, and it makes it super easy to have full access to that Facebook suite of applications that they give to you. So now that we've established that a business account is probably the way to go, let's talk about your Instagram bio. Doesn't really matter, and we're going to dive into some tips on how you can really amplify your profile with having a strong bio. The saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, always holds true, but especially when looking at your online marketing, and a huge part of your online marketing is going to be social media. So yes, bio really, really does matter, and especially on Instagram. Let's talk about what your bio should include. So if you already have a business account, or even just an Instagram account in general, feel free to open it up and just look at this little checklist and see if you have these within your bio, within your profile. Of course, all of these bullet points do ring true across social media in general, but on Instagram, do make sure your bio includes who you are, right? It could be your name and then real estate professional, real estate agent, or mention your specific brokerage. But you want to let them know who you are and what you do right off the bat. You don't want them to be confused why your feed has so many pictures of homes when they might think that you're an interior designer, right? Or someone who does staging. So be very specific on who you are, what you do. Also, make sure to note where you conduct business. The last thing that you want to do is get a lead that is far outside of where you actually conduct business, and you would have to just refer it to someone else locally. Also, your contact information. Again, if you opt into having a business account, this makes it super easy to do, but you can also double down and put your email or phone number within your bio itself. Also, one thing I highly suggest is to include the tone of your brand and business. So this is another webinar that we conduct here at Back at You, but it's all about branding to generate leads, and you want to make sure that you do have a specific brand tone. Whether you only work with luxury properties, maybe you work with veterans or those that have special needs. So make sure that you're very specific on who you work with, what your branding is, and it could be very generic, but you want to capture that in your bio immediately, especially if it is something more specific. Also, in your bio, if you have certain credentials, make sure to share your skill set. What sets you apart from the competition? Do you have a unique set of skills or experiences that might interest your potential following? Maybe you work with service animals on a regular basis, so you could share something like that that would attract a specific niche. Including these in your bio will not only help introduce new audience members, but of course it's going to be a key indicator on whether or not they actually want to utilize you as a real estate agent, as well as the services that you offer. Also, emojis. Remember, first and foremost, Instagram is a visual platform. It's all about posting photos and videos and very little text. So including emojis in your actual bio is not only going to help establish that branding and tone that I was talking about earlier, but it's going to make it pop, and it can help point to certain calls to action. Like in this example here with Sambazon, they do acai packets and things like that. They have a little arrow that is pointing to a CTA about sharing their favorite acai recipes. Similarly, you can do that with contact me for a free home valuation, whatever your call to action might be. But emojis are really great to use in bios because it can make your profile stand out. And again, alluding to what I was just saying, make sure to include a call to action in your bio, right? With Instagram, you are going to be limited with a certain amount of characters to use at your disposal. So make sure to compel visitors to take some kind of action, right? It could be clicking a link that's in your bio. It could be inquiring about a free home valuation, or simply just engaging with the content that you're posting. And here's a little pro tip. If you want to share multiple links in your bio and on your Instagram profile, there is a workaround to do that. You just have to use some third parties. As of right now, links are not accessible on Instagram unless you are running an ad. So if you are trying to link a post or something that you're sharing, maybe a photo of a listing, you're going to have to direct people to a link that's in your bio. But you can run an ad if you would like to have an actual clickable link, but that's not always going to be the case. So what can you do? Like I said, as of now, Instagram only gives users one clickable link on your profile. But if you utilize a service like linkedin.bio or Linktree, and these are free services that have paid upgrades, but you can use the free service, you can put multiple links within one link, if that makes sense. We over here use it at Back at You. It's really, really great and handy. So that way when someone clicks on one link in your bio, it will then give them multiple options on where they would like to be directed. Now let's talk about captions. Instagram is a visual medium, but that doesn't mean that you should skip over a strong caption. So first things first, brevity is key whenever it comes to Instagram. A lot of people are rapidly scrolling through their Instagram feed, whether they're doing it mindlessly, whether they're doing it while they're multitasking, right? So you want to captivate them with the image first, and that is very important. But also give context where you need to. Also keep in mind, brevity is very, very important because Instagram will cut off captions. So don't include an enormous description of the bathroom image that you're sharing, right? That is for in-person discussions, whether someone goes to a single property website. Longer descriptions there are fine. On Instagram, keep it short and sweet and make sure to captivate people with the image first and foremost, and then give context where needed. Also, hashtags. This is a lot to unpack, but always, always, always include hashtags in your caption. If you take away one thing from this entire webinar, use hashtags on Instagram. Just look at this data and it speaks for itself. Instagram posts with at least one hashtag got 70% more likes and 392% more comments than those without. That speaks so much right away. But it's also important that you use the right hashtags to achieve the goals that you're going after, right? So oftentimes you'll see people with the hashtag just real estate or hashtag new listing. Those are incredibly broad and can often get lost in the noise. So try more specific examples like the ones we're going to talk about right here. So including location is great. You know, Nashville open house, Music City listing, you know, make sure to hone in on the location first and foremost, and you'll get more accurate and honed in engagement, right? Also, this is a big mistake that we see over and over is people putting a ton of hashtags on their Instagram posts. Yes, Instagram gives you up to 30 to post per caption. That's not going to be great. It's not going to behoove you. And actually it ends up looking very spammy and it doesn't increase your engagement. So although you can post up to 30, data actually shows us that 7 is kind of that sweet spot where anything above 9 starts to be perceived as spam. And sometimes you can get what's called shadow banned on Instagram, and you don't want to do that. So try and aim for about 7 hashtags, between 7 and 9, and make sure that they are relevant to your location, that they're relevant to the post that you're posting, and you're going to see some great, great results. Also, if you are a bit lost with hashtags or have a lot of questions, because there's so much to unpack and it is so important to Instagram success, we are going to include to all attendees and all who have registered a Dropbox link. We're just going to give you some freebies. One of those freebies is a little Instagram library, hashtag library, where we give a lot of examples, a lot of tips and tricks specifically about hashtag usage on Instagram. So that's just our little gift to you for attending today. There's also an ebook that covers a lot of what we're talking about, and then some free content. So we'll put that Dropbox link right here in the chat for you, and you can access that, but we'll make sure that it's emailed out afterwards as well. So if you feel lost with hashtags, it is a lot to unpack, and we totally understand that, but we want to set you up for success the best way we possibly can with all of that information. Also, whenever it comes to captions, make sure to use emojis, okay? We talked about this with your bio, but emojis help spruce up messaging. They can convey emotion beyond words, which is really fun, and also just add a little pop to your captions too. But not only are emojis fun and cute and adorable to use, they actually help as well with engagement. Instagram posts with emojis get a 57% higher interaction rate, which is pretty crazy. Also, let's say you're a luxury agent or you don't like emojis because they just seem a little childish or a little too cutesy. Totally understandable, but still do try to utilize some of them. There are emojis that, you know, it's just the little iPhone, the little cell phone, or, you know, you can use the little computer if you want to have a call to action about someone emailing you. Whatever the case may be, there are a ton that are still more professional, quote unquote, looking than just, you know, the house or whatever it might be. So get creative, but definitely use them whenever you can. Also similar to the bio, you guys, remember the call to action, especially if it's a post about a listing, but even if it's not, always have some kind of call to action so your users can take action. If you want people to engage with your social media posts, you have to ask them, right? You can encourage them to visit the link in your bio, like we were talking about earlier, or even just ask questions in the comments, or maybe register for a virtual open house you might be conducting. However, this is a tip across the board. Try to avoid engagement baiting. Both Instagram and Facebook do flag engagement baiting captions like spam. So what does that mean? Let's say you're posting a picture of a home and you say, share this with someone who might like this house, or comment here if you would like to schedule, you know, a tour, right? Like this post if you like this kitchen backsplash. All of those things, while might seem very strategic and getting more engagement, it's actually going to be flagged by the algorithms on Facebook and Instagram and be perceived as spam. So instead, make sure that you're getting creative by asking questions like, which color do you think this wall should be painted, right? You're asking for comments and questions and feedback without engagement baiting. So that's just a little tip for you guys on that. Now let's dive into Instagram stories. Oh boy. So Instagram stories are incredibly valuable to use, okay? Stories are a huge driver of personal, more intimate connection than typically what is showcased on an Instagram feed. In fact, 1 in every 5 organic stories that you post is going to result in a DM, which means direct message. Basically meaning someone will reach out on the platform directly and inquire about what you're talking about. Also, the great thing about Instagram stories is they do not need to be this massive production where you have lights set up and you do a huge massive tour of a property. No. They're actually very short and sweet, and they don't have to be anything more than you just holding a phone right in front of your face, giving a tip of the day. 68% of people say that Instagram is their preferred story consumption method, if you will, which is 20% more than those who use Snapchat. So Instagram stories are very, very valuable to use, but what exactly should you be posting on your Instagram story as opposed to your feed? These are some ideas, but again, you can get very creative. I love little teasers to new listings on Instagram stories. So it could just be a tiny feature of a house that might just stand out. Let's say a house has, you know, a beautiful outdoor kitchen, right? You could show that and then just say this listing is upcoming. Keep an eye on my feed for more posts about it, right? You could also be posting behind the scenes of how you set up for your open houses. Also Q&A prompts. You can get creative and ask your audience to send you messages through your direct messages on your Instagram stories about questions that they have. Also, invitations to virtual tours. Of course, when we have become more virtual in this time of COVID right now, you are going to have to notify people more and more about, you know, virtual open houses, virtual tours that you may have. And Instagram stories is a really great place to do that. Also, just quick little tips of the day. This could be about design or home maintenance, or you could encourage people to get involved in, you know, a cleaning challenge, right? Whatever it might be, Instagram stories are quick, they're digestible, and they're also not permanent unless you save them to your highlights, which we're gonna talk about now. So what are highlights? If you frequent Instagram, you will notice that some profiles have these little circles that are right underneath their bio. Not everyone has them, but more often than not, people are utilizing these. So let's talk about what they are. Stories will disappear in 24 hours. They're very temporary. They're, like I said, incredibly digestible. However, if it is something that you want to make more permanent, or if you did a Q&A session and you think there are valuable questions and answers that you would like to have archived on your profile, that's where highlights come into play. So what you would do is simply save them. There's a little plus button right there. You can't miss it. And it's a great place to maybe organize certain listings that you may have. If you've done little snapshots here and there of a specific property on your stories, you can combine them all into one highlight, which is great. Also, vendor's elation. So if you recently had a closing or you have a buyer or seller that you've worked with that is incredibly excited that the job has been complete, capture that on camera, of course, with their permission, and then maybe keep a highlight specifically of how excited people are to have their new home. That's a really, really great place, as well as reviews to have on your highlights, because you can organize them and have them there and readily available if someone stumbles across your profile. And like I said, common questions and answers. This is a really good place to host those, so people don't always have to ask you over and over and over again about questions about, you know, the areas you work in or the properties you work with. You can always have that stored as a highlight on your Instagram profile. And then there is IGTV. Now, Instagram has released a long form video sharing software, I guess you could call it, within the actual application itself. And it's really handy, especially right now when people may or may not feel comfortable doing in-person showings or tours or open houses. So one great thing about IGTV is that you can simply share longer videos. In a nutshell, that's what it is. If you're posting a video on Instagram just normally on your feed, you're limited to 1 minute. So that's not an incredibly lengthy amount of time, especially if you want to showcase a property. It's going to be hard to capture the brilliance of a home in 1 minute. You can post a minute that's almost like a teaser or a trailer to what would be a virtual tour or a virtual open house for that listing. But IGTV, you can post up to 15-minute long videos, which is a lot longer, of course, than what you're allowed to post in feed. What's really great about IGTV is that you can use this feature for walkthrough tours. You can also re-upload an Instagram Live if you've recently done an Instagram Live session. So it's really a good platform for sharing any kind of video content that isn't going to work either in your Instagram stories, which are incredibly short, or in your feed. So let's say that you have a wonderful listing, you want to show it off, but of course you can't really boil it down into 1 minute. IGTV is the perfect place to upload something like that. And you can even take 1 minute of that and put it into your feed. So it's a really, really handy platform. And in the ebook that we're giving you in that Dropbox link, we do dive into IGTV a little bit more. Now let's talk about Instagram Live. So Instagram Live is very similar to Facebook Live if you have used it before. Basically, some tips and tricks would be to let people know ahead of time when you're going live. Let your followers know the date, the time of your broadcast ahead of time. Also, don't limit yourself to only posting that on social media. Send an email, right? Reach out to anyone that you have a text number for and let them know. A great thing about going live too is that it really does show in the moment what you're doing, where you're conducting business, and you are not limited to, you know, even 15 minutes like you are on IGTV. You can save your Instagram Live in your camera roll after you end your broadcast, or you can share it directly to your stories as well, so people can always catch a replay. One thing with Instagram Live is plan it ahead of time, right? And let's say you are doing a virtual open house or a virtual showing. Absolutely plan it ahead of time, just like you would if you were conducting it in person. Plan, okay, we're going to go to the kitchen first, then we're going to show this bedroom, then we're going to show the master bedroom and master bath. Make sure that you are completely prepared ahead of time. All right, you guys, one exciting thing is this summer we have officially announced Back at You's integration with Instagram. I know that we covered so much today and there is a lot to unpack, which is why we are providing that Dropbox link of all of those freebies, but we want to make sure that you are set up for success in any way possible. With that said, if you do feel overwhelmed, Back at You fully automates Instagram now, from content, from the scheduling and creating of it, also to the posting of it. So we take out all of that heavy lifting and make sure that you're set up for success. If that is something that you're interested in, this is everything that Back at You does cover beyond just Instagram. We make sure to automatically post every listing that you have. We can run advertisements. We give you broken down analytics. We can capture leads, as well as the execution of creating, scheduling, and posting content. So if that is something that you guys are interested in, again, we are going to provide you with all of those freebies right here in this Dropbox link, but feel free to just email us, hey@backatyou.com. We have a lot of different plans and we're happy to set you up with a social media expert here. And all of that includes Instagram now. So there is a lot that we covered. We are happy to alleviate any of those pain points for you. And we are running some semi-annual deals right now, so you can get a really, really good price on just setting yourself up for the rest of 2020. Now, with that said, you guys, let's open this up to a Q&A. I saw a few questions coming in, but if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat here. All right, where do you access the IGTV to launch? Very great question. So that is simply within the app itself. Whenever you go to upload a video on Instagram, it makes it very, very easy for you to select a video. And if it's longer than 1 minute, it will automatically prompt you to upload it as an IGTV feature. So it's very user-friendly and easy to use. There used to be an IGTV application that was separate from Instagram, and it might still exist, but it's not necessary to use. Instagram will take care of it for you. Do you set up the business page like you do for Facebook under the personal, or is it separate? That would have been nice to see. So in the ebook that we include, we do walk you through on how to set up or transition your personal account on Instagram to a business account. So we do break down that process in the ebook. So if you want to access that there. All right. Hey, Sandra, yes, email us hey@backatyou.com and we'll make sure to get you pricing. We have a lot of different plans. You can also opt into monthly billing, semi-annual billing, or annual plans. So there's a lot of options for you. And we also do not do contracts. It's just how you want to handle your billing. Of course. where do you find the button to go live? All right, let me pull up my phone and I will just show you guys an example. So I am on my Instagram right now. If you want to go live, there is a little camera button in the top corner. So you simply click on that. And one of these options down here is live. So you will just select the live option down at the bottom. And it's as simple as that. Can you have both a personal and business page on Instagram? That is a great, great question. Yes, you can, but they do have to be separate. Instagram has made it incredibly easy where you can toggle between accounts, which is really handy. So what you could do is have one that's dedicated to, you know, your personal things, like sharing photos of your family, your pets, your friends, you know, when you go to a nice vacation, whatever it might be. And then you can always toggle back to your business account, which can be real estate specific. But it's totally doable. You will just have to set up 2 separate accounts, and I believe they do have to have separate email addresses associated with them. So with your personal one, I would suggest using your personal email address, and you know, you can make that public or private. The business account, however, does have to be public. So make sure that, you know, everything on your business page is real estate specific. All right. What is the cost to Instagram business? So it's totally free. If you're asking about having a business account on Instagram, it's free to set that up. The platform itself doesn't charge you. If you're asking about our services and how we help, then just email us. We'll send you pricing. There are a lot of different plans, like I was saying, all which include Instagram automation, which is great. And we can make sure that we help you out with the plan that's best fit for you. So how do you transfer your personal to business? It's really, really simple. In the Dropbox link we're sending you, there is an Instagram ebook, and I believe it's on the first or second page. We break down exactly how to switch your personal account to a business account. It's very simple. You go into your settings, and then it, I believe, quite plainly says switch this to a business account or a professional account. And of course, you guys, if you do have any questions after this webinar has concluded, or maybe if you're watching a recording of this later, feel free to email us, hey@backatyou.com. We are more than happy to answer your questions or provide you with that Dropbox link after the webinar too. Any more questions? All right, you guys. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us today. Again, we are back at you. We totally automate all social media, and not just with Instagram. We make sure that you are set up for success across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, really the whole kit and caboodle. We want to make sure that you get back to doing what you do best, and we will handle all of the social media automation, from content creating to posting your listings, and you don't even have to do a thing. So we are super, super excited to have conducted this for you guys today. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out. All of those emails go directly into Grant and my email inbox. So that's all. Thank you guys so, so much. Hopefully everyone has a lovely Wednesday, and very much appreciate you guys attending today. Have a good one. Thanks so much.